Hey everybody, it's Modern Refugee. It's been a long day, but I wanted to do a video for you guys on some information that I think is important and might help you guys out if you're putting together different types of first aid kits. Now, like most of my kits and my gear, it's constantly going through different revisions and evolutions. And what I'm showing you here is sort of the latest evolution of a long-term wound care or wound recovery kit. And I had one of these for a long time, but it has been modified in the last few months because of a particular seminar that I was invited to last winter, where I went and I listened to a gentleman's firsthand accounts where he was attacked by a bear on a hunt up in the Northwest Territories in Canada, and he was in such bad shape when they got him back to the base camp. They had to fly him out, and he was pretty much non-responsive. They didn't think that he was going to survive. But then, as he told about his recovery, he got into the long-term recovery and the different things that he went through, because he had them deep wounds caused by a bear, so the infection risk was sky high. And he talked about, the wound pumps that he had to, put negative pressure on those wounds to draw out the infection and to aid in healing. So, of course, my mind, being, the prepper that I am, my mind started to go to, okay, what could I do or have in my kits and stuff at home if I had to take care of some really bad injury like this on someone that I love or somebody that I know here in my community, and there was no, advanced medical care. Now, when you put in, first aid kits and stuff in, the prepping channels and stuff, you're going to see a lot of stuff about like IFAKs, stuff like chest seals and tourniquets. And basically all that stuff is to stabilize a person enough to get them to the next level of care. But what if there is no next level of care? What if, you have to take care of somebody that's been grievously wounded long term with just kind of the stuff that you can get over the counter? So I've been modifying my kits and adding some stuff in, and I have a large sort of wound care kit here that I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to pick it up here and show it to you. It's quite large, and it's basically just a big old toolbox that I have marked for medical. And even though that guy is packed full of stuff, in actuality, that's really not enough. That's maybe for one wound on one person, the stuff that's in there, because it would take a long time for those injuries to heal. Anyway, I'm going to set that guy up here on the workbench. I'm going to open it up and show you guys a little bit what I have in that particular kit and some of the reasoning behind some of the things that I got in there. Anyway, you guys stick around. All right, guys, this is the top of my kit here, and in this side compartment, I've got my black nitrile gloves. On most of my kits, I have some type of glove on the outside, easily accessible. Now, these are black. I've had some people that are in the medical field and some different commenters and stuff that have told me over the years that I should switch them over to blue, because it's easier to see blood or bodily fluids on the blue gloves than it is the black. So as I kind of rotate these out, I am going to switch them over to the blue. But I have gloves on the outside there, and the inside of this compartment here, give you an idea here about how big that it is. I have a right on top here, I have a silica gel packet. If I'm storing this medical stuff long term, I put some type of silica gel packet in it to absorb any humidity that might be in it. And actually, this is it's kind of still free flowing on one end, but the other end, you can see here, it is hardened up, which means it's doing its job and it's absorbing the humidity out of this kit. And the first thing I got on top here, I got actually some sterile surgical gloves, and I don't have to basically tell everybody the importance of keeping a sterile environment if you're taking care of wounds. And then the next thing I have here is I have a little scissors, tweezers, in a sterile package container. This guy right here has some iodine prep pad in it, a little bit of gauze, so I can keep everything as sterile as possible. And while I've got other scissors and whatnot, it's good to have at least one that's sterile if you ever have to use anything like this. And the next thing I got in here that not a lot of people talk about or show in different first aid kits is this elastic net. And what this is, well, like it says right on the outside of the package there, secures without adhesive. So it's basically like a stretchy sleeve that can go over arm, leg, calf, whatever. If somebody has a like an allergy to the tape or the different adhesives that they use, you can put your dressing on and then slide this over top to hold everything in place. Now, I do have sort of a large quantity of different tapes, paper tapes, medical tape, ace bandages, Cobands and stuff. I have that as well, but that's in supplemental to this this particular kit right here. But this elastic net here is something I don't see a lot of people show in their kits, so I wanted to mention that to you guys. Then I got my betadine down there, and then I have this guy here. This is Wound Wash. Wound Wash is something I don't see a lot of people talk about in their kits, but I've had different people that sort of do medical for a living basically tell me that this Wound Wash is kind of an important thing to have in first aid kits. So again, it's something I wanted to mention to you guys. Now I have peroxide and alcohol here as well. Alcohol again for, you know, sterilizing utensils or whatever, but peroxide gets kind of a bad rap in this day and age anymore, but I've always had really good luck using peroxide for different things for both me and my family. So peroxide is definitely in my kits and probably always will be. Then I got different gauze pads of all different sizes, and then some larger gauze pads, and then down in the bottom there I got the rolled gauze like the Curlex and stuff in multiple different sizes. And again, if you're really taking care of a wound long term, you're just going to go through a ton of this stuff. Then I have surgical dressings, which are basically just large absorbent dressings that will absorb a lot of fluid. And then over here I got a bunch of different dressings too that I keep in here. I got a couple of silver dressings, and then a couple of antimicrobial dressings, occlusive bandages, occlusive dressings. And occlusive dressing is basically a petroleum jelly soaked gauze pad, and these have different applications as well. And all this stuff here you guys can kind of look up online, and it'll give you you know, different applications for some of this stuff. And then Tegaderms. Tegaderms are awesome. They're basically a transparent film that goes over a wound, almost like what like a saran wrap is. It kind of looks like if you wrap your arm in saran wrap, that's what Tegaderms do. And they are sort of like a waterproof but still breathable dressing, I guess is the best way to describe this. There's been different times, you know, when we were up north or something, and I had a couple of these in my pack and somebody got hurt or cut. Like it was one time somebody got cut on the bottom of their feet when they were in a small stream. They were walking barefoot in the stream and they got cut by either stone or a piece of glass or something, and I actually cleaned it up with my first aid kit, and then I covered it with that Tegaderm, and that actually kept it sealed until we could get back to camp and get the actual real first aid stuff out to kind of put him back together. But this Tegaderm film, they come in different sizes. I got kind of a small, medium, and large that goes in a lot of my kits. But for a long-term like wound care kit here, that Tegaderm would come in handy in my opinion. I got other different medical, kind of like non-adhesive medical pads here. And then I have got a large amount of different antibiotic ointments and creams. There's a difference between the ointment and the cream. The applications are sort of different, so that's another thing. You guys get a chance, kind of hop online there and Google around on the different applications for the different antibiotic ointments and creams, bacitracin. I actually prefer cream. If I have my choice, if I could only have one, I would have the cream. I think the antibiotic cream is, or antiseptic cream is actually better than the ointment, at least in my opinion. But anyway, hey, I'm going to kind of pack this all back up here for you guys, and then I'm going to give you a wrap up. Well, guys, I hope you got something out of this particular video here, me showing you some of the items in my long-term wound care and recovery kit. Healing takes time, and if we don't have the advanced medical facilities that we have today, and we have to take care of someone, or possibly have somebody take care of us, I think it's important that we keep some of these particular items around. And like I said, it's not very much what I have in that one kit. It looks like a lot of stuff, but if I had to take care of a wound long term, I'd almost like to have double that amount. So that's something that I got to work on too, maybe increase the stock of that stuff that I have. But anyway, wanted to share that with you guys. Hopefully you can get some different ideas out of this particular video here to help you and your family. But anyway, this is Modern Refugee. Appreciate all my subscribers out there. Hope you guys got a little information, some things to think about as always, again, out of this video, and you guys have a good one.